Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Sign up for my free daily newsletter, The Current, at GetKim.com. You know, over the years, I've heard from so many people who have gotten scammed, romance scams. Oh, my gosh. You know, 9 times out of 10, I always ask, where's the family? How did this even happen? Well, joining us today is a gentleman by the name of Grant Inman. Grant has his own podcast, My Funeral Home Podcast, as well as he's a producer for a really popular radio show, John, Jay, and Rich, here in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, Grant's story is different because he is the family, and his mom was involved with a romance scammer that actually ended the marriage. I mean, 45 years they were married because of some guy in Nigeria. So, Grant, thanks for being here.
Thank you
story.
so much. First of all, this is a really cool experience because I've been aware of Kim Komando since my days working at the funeral home. So this is a very big deal for me. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. When I heard about your story, it's unbelievable that this has been going on. But take us to the beginning. Take us to when you actually found out that this was going on.
Okay, so this is a multi-year process. It's been a really bizarre couple years, but it all started maybe 2 summers ago when my sister sent me a message about with a picture of some guy that my mother had been communicating with on Instagram, and somehow my mom spilled the beans and said, "Hey, look at this guy. What do you think of this fella?" And I mean, he was a good-looking guy, probably mid-40s. And I started going through his pictures as a, concerned son would do. And I ended up seeing a construction machine in the background. And I had kind of the feeling that, what does this guy have any business doing talking to my mother? So I looked up the construction company that he rented, the man in this picture rented the device from. And they said, "Oh yeah, that's so-and-so." All of his images and all of his stuff on social media has been stolen by this group of hackers. Oh. And so your mom's not the first person. I know this guy. We all know this guy in town. So I went to my mom with this information. And I think the most common thing that happens with these romance scams, if you're a family member, is, you present evidence and you say, this is not a real person.
Right.
I hate to be the one to break it to you, but this isn't reality. And when you do that, usually from, just talking to people I've met who've been in similar situations, they all say, the person being catfished or scammed is very reluctant to listen to anything.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, they just brush it off. And
so, because it's like they've been sucked into it, right, Grant? I mean,
100%.
And they've been led to believe that this is going to be the love of their life, and it's going to make life wonderful again, or whatever it may be. And so they are emotionally vested in believing that this actually might be true.
100%. And from my understanding, there were hours of conversations, after my dad would go to sleep or that sort of thing. And there were all these just kind of weird feelings. And then maybe 2 Thanksgivings ago, my parents call me. They were in Alabama. They call me in Arizona and they say, "Guess what? We're getting a divorce."
Did you see that coming?
No. I mean, it was shocking, to say the least. It was just, I'm sitting there with my fiance, we're about to dip into the life of marriage, and here are my role models for marriage of 45 years.
Wow.
They've been together this long. They just decide we're going to call it quits.
Now, were they arguing before this, or, I mean, when you were growing up, did it just seemed like they were just happy together, and 45 years is a long time.
Yeah, standard Midwestern parent fare, I would say. It's definitely, the good times, bad times. My dad was real busy with the funeral home, and I was busy with sports and music and that sort of thing. So we, just seemed like a normal, happy family, and still did up until 2 years ago. Then, they make this announcement, And then my sister and I start talking, and the burden of the difficult part about this is she lives in Australia, Southern Australia.
Okay.
So we're having to do all this online investigation and, talk to seedy characters basically to, find out like what's going on. Then I'm getting an oil change. I'm just sitting middle of the day and my mom calls me and tells me, hey, it turns out the guy you told me isn't real. And it's actually a Nigerian fella that I've been talking to. And he said, hey, you caught me. This is I've been trying to scam you as this guy, but I'm actually, everything I said to you was real. Everything is legit.
God. Oh, no.
I love you, baby, come back. That sort of.
Yeah, like it's like you did catch me, and I'm so glad that you did because now I can be honest with you.
Yeah,
and I love you, and I want to be with you forever.
And it was my head exploded because there's a part of you when you have a family member who's going through this. There's like different stages of finding out about it and feeling all the different ways. At first, you think it's silly. And then you start to understand the emotional, financial, all the other repercussions that this relationship is having, not on just your mother, but your whole extended family.
Did your mom send him money?
Mm-hmm.
How much?
Yeah.
How much?
Ooh, okay. So I talked to one of these fellas, and he talked to me for about an hour, and he told me that around 25,000.
Oh, okay. 25.
But then again, I have neither verified that information. I brought it up, obviously, as you bring it up in conversations, and she denied it. So,
okay. So wait. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. So your mom tells you that okay, you caught me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the guy's a scammer.
Yeah.
How did you respond to that?
At first, it was of, elation. You got it. You figured out that this is fake and this guy is fake. But then she said, basically I'm choosing to talk to this guy. And then that's when I don't know if it was anger. It's something. My brain wanted to leave my head. That's just boom. I just have vivid memories of literally kind of half yelling conversation with my mom while all these nice people are getting their oil changed around me, and I'm just dealing with family business. It was pretty intense.
I'm sure people are like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
Right, absolutely.
Because I'm sure you just want to shake her. Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you see this? You're a smart woman.
And at the time, I was getting weird messages on Instagram. Through these accounts that only followed my mother. And then I, obviously started to piece the who it was together and basically realized like, oh, this is 5 or 6, maybe 12 people all doing this. It's very, very weird situation once you realize like, oh, this is like a net. And I figured out through, finding, accounts that were connected and that sort of thing, just doing like the math, I found a Nigerian beauty salon because somebody left their license plate number in one of the pictures, and I was able to get to like a specific location in Nigeria. And then I figured out, oh, they're working out of this beauty salon that they're all being photographed in front of.
Wow, that is crazy.
Fascinating.
Wait, you really went to work?
Oh, it became a problem, Kim. Like it was one of these things where I would think about so basically I got all their phone numbers because I did the thing that I don't think you're supposed to do, which is engage the scammers. Mm-hmm. I pretty much just went full clip in because I was like, what do I have to lose? I understand, they might hack me. They might do something like that.
This is also your mom, right?
Yeah, it's my mom.
Yeah, I mean.
So
yeah.
I started literally calling every connection I had, and I would just at first no one answered, and then I started leaving voice memos and messages just being like, hey, I want to talk. And the one guy I talked to, his name was Christopher. He said he was the brother of the person that was scamming my mom, and that's exactly how he put it, scamming your mom. And he told me that, hey, your mom is in a very deep romance scam. There's a guy in downtown. Everybody they print out pictures of the people they're scamming. They take them downtown, and they light a candle and there's a ceremony and then they put you under a literal romance spell.
Oh my gosh. I never heard that.
Yeah. So this guy's telling me all this and he's like, you might be under a spell as well. I just want to let you know that this is the sort of magic and this is the sort of thing we're dealing with here. So basically he said the only thing you can do is take your mom to a church and get her blessed. And I was like, okay, deal.
We'll do that.
That sounds easy. And it wasn't effective. So I'm not really sure. You know, it's one of those things where anytime somebody says spell, it becomes kind of infinitely more interesting because you're just like, whoa. So this is not only like an economic decision. This is like a spiritual
mystical
decision
thing that might be going on. Okay. So you find all this out. Mm-hmm. Do you go to your mom?
Of course. I'm sending her recorded conversations, because as a podcaster, you know, you just have the technology lying around.
For sure.
And I don't know what necessarily the legalities of recording someone internationally are, but I took the chance because it was my mom, obviously. And so I just started sending her these hour-long conversations I was having with these guys. And then they started not answering my calls. And then that's when I just started basically Did she get mad at you? Yeah. In fact, I don't know how this is going to really play out because it's just one of those things that everyone's aware of it, but we've never really spent the time to be like, oh, this is something that needs to be spoken about publicly. But I think it's important because it is one of those things where it's like, oh my God, this is a legitimate epidemic of people.
2 years hence, the divorce. Has your mom gone to Nigeria? Have they met?
Great question, Kim. So the story was for months that he was waiting on a visa because, you know, he was going to do it the right way, all this stuff. And there were all these hangups with, I don't know, the visa, whoever issues visas and that sort of thing. And then it turned into somebody in his family got sick, so he's not going to be able to leave the country because they might, you know, pass. And then it's just one thing after another. And then eventually it did get to a point where there was a date on the calendar.
Okay.
And that was scary. Just because it was most likely he wasn't going to show up. But when, you know, they're alone together, we don't know what documents have been signed and, you know, staircases. And that's what, I mean, it's just.
Well, your mind goes all different places.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Missing out on a show that everyone's talking about is not an option for me. I'm constantly signing up for this streaming service or that one, and then months later, I realize I'm still paying for the service. You know when you sign up for something, forget about it until after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month? Getting Rocket Money was a game changer for me. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. They have over 5 million users and have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. Rocketmoney.com/Kim. Check it out right now. rocketmoney.com/Kim. One of the best kept secrets to looking and feeling amazing? Collagen. You see, as we get older, our body slows down collagen production, leading to wrinkles, thinning hair, achy joints, and brittle nails. But you can fight back naturally. With high-quality collagen from Native Path, you're giving your body the essential building blocks to support smoother skin, stronger nails, shinier hair, and even healthier joints. Some studies suggest collagen supplements may also support bone health. It's not about turning back time. It's about feeling your best at any age. If you want to glow from the inside out, add Native Path collagen to your routine. Your future self will thank you. Now, Kim Komando listeners get 45% off with free shipping and a free gift bundle. Go to getnativepath.com/Kim. That's getnativepath.com/Kim. Don't miss out on this deal. Go to getnativepath.com/Kim right now.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individual results may vary.
And she still doesn't believe.
Yeah, and so here, Kim, this is my coping mechanism here. My mom is now a divorced woman in her 70s, and if she's going to go find happiness or what she perceives as happiness, great. I want her to be happy. So I stopped bringing up the issue because I don't want to be the son who just comes over and fights. I want to have a relationship with my mother, even if the decisions she's making aren't necessarily the best. Is that, you know what I mean? So we never.
I understand that because you don't know how long she's going to be around.
Yeah.
And you want to enjoy your relationship with her.
Absolutely.
But, when you were talking, Grant, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what would I do? How would I handle this? It would be really difficult. I'd try to lock down as much as of the financial aspect of it as possible, because I don't want her to become destitute. Right. Want to have her still maintain her independence and everything. Mm-hmm. Maybe suggest going to see a counselor.
Yeah, I mean, all of these are great ideas, Kim. I've had the discussion with her about doing counseling, discussing. I literally had a person who listened to my podcast, who listened to these conversations from the FBI, call me.
Oh,
and they were like, "I'll talk to your mom. I'll give her the whole rundown." And I was like, "Great." And I got him in touch, and there was no conversation.
Nothing?
No.
Because I was gonna say, if you want me to go over and talk to her, I'll bring over some coffee and some bagels and
Kim, she would love that. That would be amazing.
And chat with her and say, let's just talk. And I can, how I could do it might be different, Grant. Mm-hmm. Is how I could do is I have a guy that I'm helping right now. Let's just say his name is John Doe. Mm-hmm. He believes that he's going to marry Reese Witherspoon.
Awesome.
He's a retired guy in the Midwest. Oh. And, Reese needed some money.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. And she needed some money. And so he's probably sent her like $40,000.
Oh, no.
Because Reese is, Reese Witherspoon, I mean, she probably has trouble finding men to date.
Definitely.
I mean, but, we spoke with him and he hung up.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like
he didn't want to know that it wasn't real.
There's a part of me that respects that. It's like, hey, this is kind of a game I'm playing, but I mean, it's just, at what point do you really dig in though and really become that person? Because I mean, I'm doing all this stuff just to kind of blow off steam and, get back at the guys that did this to my family as much as I can. But like, what is the real end for, as she can tell me, I haven't talked to him. And then, 2 days later, you find out they've been talking the whole time. So it's just one of these things where, I mean, it's just people, one, wanting to pull the wool over their eyes, and two, like the lying.
And maybe she's lonely.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
And maybe she needs to go to church to get that spell taken off of her.
Right.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that. So you mentioned the FBI once. Mm-hmm. Were they helpful at all?
Shout out to the FBI. I don't want to have my house raided. They were not super helpful. They were helpful in the fact that they said basically there's nothing we can do here, which is kind of what my expectation was in contacting anybody with law enforcement. They said, hey, we realize this is a problem. This is a thing. And then I, contacted local police and just was like, what do people do when they find out about this? And they just kind of were like, we're all at a loss. We write names down and we, have a database of where we think things are, but I don't know if there's not necessarily anyone policing that because it's not like an international pressing issue yet.
Well, and there's so many of them too, Grant. Like,
yeah, totally.
Just tons. But I mean, you were able to nail it down to that beauty salon. Mm-hmm. It seems like there should be something that we could do internationally. I mean, have you ever thought about getting on a plane?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I were in a financially a little different situation, I would have done some international traveling for sure. But then I also don't think I would have come back because from what I've been reading, and I've been spitting this fact out for maybe 2 years, is I read somewhere that the scam industry is actually one of the biggest industries in Nigeria in terms of money making. It's how people make money down there. So if you go down there knocking on doors looking for people, you might have a harder time coming home. So that was my biggest thing. And then also too, I don't know how big the net is. They could have people here in the States that know exactly where I live, know exactly where my mom lives. And if they want, they can just,
Yeah, that's true.
that's scary.
That's true.
Kim.
But you are in such a precarious position.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, Grant, I'll go talk to her. Honest.
That is such a cool. I would say yes in a heartbeat. That
Okay.
would be amazing.
All right. You know what? Let's do that. Maybe woman to woman might be, and a third party. Does she ever
Like
listen
it.
to the show?
I mean, she barely listens to the radio show I'm on, Kim.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's set that up.
That's interesting. I love it. Love it.
And let me go have a girl talk with her and just kind of explain the facts to her and let her tell me all about the guy. And
Yeah.
who knows, maybe I can say something that just might let me strike a chord with her.
God, that's wild. Like, Kim, I just can't begin to tell you, one, that like I said at the beginning of this, you're a very big deal in my life. Like, you've been around for like formative years in my life. And the fact that there is an opportunity that Kim Commando might actually go talk to my mom about a romance scam is just absolutely, my heart's racing. So Kim,
Well,
you're
thank you.
awesome.
Well, I'm going to do it. And then so for everybody who's watching and listening, there will be a part 2. Okay. And either we're going to get rid of the scammer, or we're going to learn a little bit more about maybe why
Love.
your mom won't get rid of the scammer.
Right. But also there's a part of me that hopes, like legitimately, there's a really naive part of my brain that wants, to go up to my mom's house and then walk in and there's just a cool Nigerian dude sitting on the couch being like, hey, I finally made it. The visas were crazy. I like
Yeah.
that. I mean, honest, I know it's not going to happen, but there is like that part of my brain that's just like, wow, and I think that's what families, that's kind of where you go mentally. You're eventually just kind of like, well, there's nothing more I can say. I hope this guy is real.
Because I don't want mom to be hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want her sad.
It'd be cool to have like a 26-year-old stepdad.
Yo, dude.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
That'd be funny. You have kids like, here's grandpa.
Yeah, here you go. He's a few years older than you, but not by much.
All right, Grant, we're going to set this up. Thanks for
Awesome,
sharing
I love
your
it.
story. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Kim.
Thanks for being here.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.